Namaste. So I'm going to read Book 3, Chapter 7 on the creation and the tattvas and their presiding deities. Tat Sat. Brahma said, Narada, thus we three, I, Vishnu and Mahadeva, saw that highly effulgent goddess. We also saw separately her attendant goddesses, one after another, that form, as it were, a veil to her, who were also preeminently grand. Vyasa said, O King Narada, the foremost of the Munis, hearing thus his father's words, was exceedingly pleased and asked, O grandsire of all the lokas, now describe in detail that ancient and indestructible, undecaying, unchangeable, eternal Purusha, that is Nirguna, free from prakritic qualities, that you have seen and realized. Father, you have seen the Shakti, the prime energy, personified the Saguna energy, the supreme goddess, having hands and feet but cannot understand of what kind is that Nirguna Shakti, which cannot be seen and which is devoid of all prakritic qualities. O lotus born, be good enough to describe to me the real nature of that Prakriti and Purusha and thus satisfy me. O Lord of creation, I practice severe austerities in the Svetadvipa, White Island, so that I might realize and see the Nirguna, higher self, and the Nirguna Shakti, the supreme goddess. I saw there many other Mahatmas, high-class spiritual persons who attained cities, supernatural powers, practiced tapasya with their passions and anger conquered. But I did not realize, nor did I see anything about that Nirguna higher self. Father, I was not despaired. Again and again I continued with my ascetic practices, but still I failed. Father, you have been so successful as to see that beautiful Shakti with qualities. I have heard about her from you. But how and of what sort is that invisible attributeless energy as well as that Nirguna Purusha? Please narrate and explain all these and satisfy my desires that always reign in my breast. Vyasa said, O king, thus asked by Narada, the Lord of creation, the grandsire of the Lokas smiled and began to speak the truth of the following words. O best of Munis, the form of the Nirguna Purusha, the supreme spirit beyond the prakritic qualities, cannot exist or be visible, for everything that comes within the range of sight is transitory. How can then that eternal spirit have form, and how can he become visible? Narada, the Nirguna energy or Nirguna Purusha comes not easily within the range of knowledge, but both of them can be realized by the Munis in their meditation, in their consciousness. Prakriti and Purusha have no beginning, no end. They can be realized only through faith. Those that have no faith can never realize them. Narada, the universal consciousness that is felt in all the beings, know that as the highest self, the energy that is universal and is seen always in all the beings, know that as the highest self. O Blessed One, that Purusha and Prakriti pervade everywhere and exist in all the things. In this universe, nothing can exist without the presence of both of them. Both of them are the highest intelligent self, Nirguna, free from all material qualities, without any tinge of impurity and undecaying. The one form that is a combination of these two is always to be meditated in the heart. What is Shakti, energy, is the higher self. What is the higher self? is the highest Shakti. O Narada, nobody can ascertain the subtle differences between these two. O Narada, merely the study of all the Sastras and the Vedas with their Amgas without renunciation does not enable one to ascertain the difference between these two. O child, this whole universe, moving and non-moving, comes out of ahamkara, egoism. How can one ascertain the above difference even if he tries for 100 kalpas, unless one frees oneself from ahamkara? The jivas are saguna, with qualities. How can the sagunas see the nirguna one with their physical eyes? Therefore, O intelligent one, try to see the saguna Brahma only within your heart, until you free yourself from the material qualities and thus be fit to realize the nirguna Brahma. O best of the munis, if the tongue, organ of taste, and eyes, organ of sight, be affected with over biliousness, the pungent taste and the yellow color do not appear what it appeared before. So the hearts of jivas overpowered with material qualities are quite unfit for realization of the nirguna Brahman. O Narada, that heart again has come out of ahamkara. How can then that heart be free from ahamkara? Until one becomes able to cut asunder all connections with qualities, the seeing of that nirguna Brahma is impossible. No sooner one is totally free from ahamkara, that the nirguna Brahma is at once seen by him within his heart. Narada said, O best of the devas, ahamkara is threefold: sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic. Describe in detail the differences between these three subdivisions, as well the three nature of the gunas. Also describe to me about that knowledge, knowing which will lead to my salvation. Also describe in detail the characteristics of the several gunas in due order. Brahma said, O sinless one, the energy of ahamkara is of three kinds: jnana, shakti, kriya shakti, and artha or dravya shakti. The power by which knowledge is produced or obtained in the sattvic ahamkara. The power by which action or activity or motion is produced is the rajasic ahamkara, and that by which the material things or objects or how senses are generated is called the tamasic ahamkara. O Narada, thus I describe to you in due order the threefold ahamkara. Now I describe to you their merits and workings in detail here. Out of the dravya shakti of the tamasic ahamkara come sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. From these five qualities, the five tanmatras, or the five subtle elements, primary atoms, are produced. Sound is the quality of akasha, ether. Touch is the quality of vayu, air. The form is the quality of agni, fire. The taste is the quality of jala, water. And the smell is the quality of earth. Narada, these 10 gross and subtle materials can, when combined, become endowed with power to work out results in the shape of earth, water, fire, etc. And when the panchakarana process is combined, the building of the whole cosmos takes place as a natural consequence of the tamasa ahamkara, endowed with the energy of generating material substances. Now here, what are produced by the rajasic energy? The five organs of hearing, touch, taste, sight, and smell, ears, skin, tongue, eyes, and nose, called the five gyanindriyas, organs of senses. Mouth, hands, feet, anus, and the organs of generation, called the five karma indriyas, organs of action, and prana, apana, vyana, samana, and udana, the five vayus. The creation out of these 15 substances is called the rajasic energy. Narada, all these organs of senses and actions endowed with the kriya shakti, called the karanas and the materials fashioned out of them are called the Chidanu vritti or Maya. O Narada, from the Sattvic Ahamkara are produced the 5 presiding rulers of the 5 internal organs, named Dik quarters, Vayu, Sun, Varuna, and the twins Ashvins, Kumaras, and the 4 presiding rulers of the 4-fold divisions of Antakarana, Buddhis, Manas, Ahamkara, and Chitta, named Moon, Brahma, Rudra, and Kshetrajna. Thus the above 5 organs of senses, the 5 organs of action, the 5 vayus and mind, these 16 substances are reckoned as the sattvic creation. O child, the highest self has 2 forms, one gross and the other subtle. The formless self, the consciousness incarnate, as it were, is the first form. The sayers consider this formless self to be the primary cause, the ultimatum of all this phenomenal cosmos. This is only for the best qualified jnanis, not for others. The second form is the gross form for the meditation of the second class qualified persons. Thus the sages say, the second form of the Supreme Goddess is conditioned by inherent Maya, time, space, and causation. This is also divided into gross and subtle, according as it is the outer of or inner body of the second form, and the form suited for the meditation of the third class and the second class devotees. My body is called Sutratma. I will now tell you the gross body of Brahman, the highest self. O Narada, this my body and soul, having the nature of a string or thread, is called Hiranyagarbha. This is also the gross body of the Paramatman. Therefore, the Paramatman together with the Sutratma should also be worshipped. O Narada, I will now describe to you the outer gross body of Brahman, the highest self. Hear it attentively. If one hears it with faith and devotion, one is sure to get salvation. I have mentioned to you before the 5 subtle elements, called the 5 tanmatras. These now, when the Panchikarana process is done, are converted into the 5 gross elements. Now hear what the Panchikarana process means. Suppose you are to create the gross element of water. Divide into 2 equal parts the subtle element of water. Divide also the other 4 elements into 2 equal parts respectively. Now set apart the first half of each of the 5 elements. Divide the second half of each of the elements into 4 equal parts. Mix the first half of each of the elements with each of the fourth part of the other 4 elements, and you get 1 gross element. Similarly, you get the other 4 gross elements. For example, you want to get the gross element of water. With the half of the subtle element, half of water, mix the fourth part of the halves of the other elements of ether, fire, air, and earth. You get the gross element of water, and so on. The Panchikarana process is clearly illustrated in the following table. It's a little difficult to describe this table. It's a little complex, so I'm just going to show you. Let's see here. There we go. There we go. Feel free to take a screenshot. With the 5 gross elements thus produced, consciousness then enters into these elements. As their presiding deities, next comes the feeling of egoism. I-ness, identifying itself with the body thus created out of the 5 elements. I am this body, and so forth. This great I, the great consciousness, creating and considering the cosmos as its body, is called the Bhagavan, Adideva, Narayana, or Vaisvanara. When by the Panchikarana process, the 5 gross elements, earth, ether, air, etc., are solidified and get their clear, definite forms, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 qualities are seen to exist in either air, fire, water, and earth, respectively. Thus, either has one quality only, that is sound. The air has got 2 qualities, sound and touch. Let me do it again. Thus, ether has one quality only, that is sound. The air has 2 qualities, sound and touch. The fire processes 3 qualities, sound, touch, and form. The water has got 4 qualities, sound, touch, form, and taste. The earth has got 5 qualities, sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. And by the various combinations of these 5 gross elements is produced this grand cosmos, the great body of Brahman. Similarly, the sum total of jivas is produced from several parts of the whole Brahmanda. These jivas are 84 lakhs, so the sages say. Thus ends the 7th chapter of the 3rd skanda of the Srimad Devi Bhagavatam, the Maha Puranam of 18,000 verses on the creation and the tattvas and their presiding deities. So here's a note here. Of these jivas, those who are the best qualified, the Utta Madhikaris, are known as the Brahmanas, Jnana Guna Turiyas, as denoted by Om Hrim. The middlings have their gross, subtle, and causal bodies and are called as Brahma Vaisvanara. Sutra, Hiranyagarbhas, and the 3rd class is known as Visva, Tejasa, and Prajnas, and forms the body, as it were, of the Brahman. They are others also, animals, etc., in the lowest class. Om Jayanti Mangalakali, Bhadrakali, Kapali, Durga, Kashma, Shivati, Swaswa, Namaste. Hari Om, Em, Rim, Klim, Jam, Rim, Klim, Jam, Om Jaya Mata, Jam.